Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal, Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, a very, very warm welcome again. I've known Mr. Sonowal since he was Chief Minister of Assam, did a dynamic job there. Then he was, because earlier you were also Union Minister of Sports, Skill Development, and Ayush also, I remember. We did yoga together on this. And of course, he handles a very, very critical ministry. We were just joking outside when Mr. Ramamohan Naidu was there. Between them, air and sea is taken care of on this one. The roadways will come soon. But I think the main thing here was that, in many senses, was like the Indian Navy. The Indian Navy was always seen as the stepsister of the armed forces. The Air Force got a certain play. The military, army got a lot. In India, roads got a lot of priority. Air got only now waterways and shipping is getting it. So there's a huge challenge, and this is because we are looking now at exporting a lot, and the fact that our ports and our shipping is very critical for the plans ahead. And we've seen Mr. Trump go at exports all across the world. And clearly, the new emerging world order for India will depend a lot on how well we do on the export front. And on that is dependent, in terms of infrastructure, on Mr. Sonowal. So, Mr. Sonowal, can you outline for us what are the things you are doing to ensure that India is at the cutting edge of maritime and shipping, and ensuring that ports are moving and logistics are moving at tremendous speed? May I now request you to make your opening remarks and present your outline and your vision for shipping in India?
First of all, I am thankful to India Today Group for inviting me to this conclave. And as you know, the Ministry of Port, Shipping, Waterways, this is a key ministry and who handles more than 95% EXIM cargo by volume and 70% by value. So this is the scale of responsibility we always carry with our full of dedication and commitment. Under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, in the last 10 years, transformative initiative has been taken up, and as a result, now you can see how World Bank Logistic Performance Report Index now giving us the status because of our performance, credible performance, because of our commitment, because of the modernization, mechanization, digitization. That's the revolutionary changes taken place in the last 10 years. Earlier, it was not that way, priority sector. And even, sorry to say, even in the mainstream media also, not giving that way space to this ministry. But right. Exemplary activities and efforts needs to be undertaken, because if India wants to become the #1 nation in the world by 2047, our ministry will have to play very, very important pivotal role. That is clear. So that is why all the ecosystem has already been developed in the country. And whether in the Sagarmala program you have seen more than 850 projects we have identified, and with the worth of rupees 5.8 lakhs crore investment in the 20 years time. So far we have completed more than 50%. So that has given a lot of kind of strength to this ministry, and also the capacity enhancement, and also the port modernization and port-led industrialization, and coastal community development, coastal shipping, inland waterways. In all the parameters, you have seen how this particular ministry is signing, and it is happening only because of Honorable Prime Minister's vision. Because it is he who has been taking this particular sector very, very importantly, and ultimately considering us. You have seen the last budget. Yes. What are the path-breaking announcement?
25,000 crores?
Yeah, Maritime Development Fund. So that way, many other transformation is taking place. And we are confident now that India is going to become the leading maritime nation in the next 5 to 6 years' time.
Now, if you compare India with Indian ports with ports elsewhere, the main things in terms of infrastructure, logistics, and movement, and the speed of movement of loading, downloading, how much have you changed that in the last couple of years? You've been 5 years as minister.
I want to tell you then when you talk about the turnaround time,
Right.
we are better than Australia, we are better than America, we are better than Germany nowadays.
Wow.
So in
So just
many
give us
like
an-
parameters,
Yeah.
World Bank Logistic Performance Report has now given us those like, kind of categories, which has always enlightened everyone, every Indians, to give a fresh look to the like performance of this particular ministry. So as you know, in the like out of the 100 best performing port, particular container handling, out of 100 ports, we have been the 9th position we have occupied, and Visakhapatnam among the top 20 container handling port in the
Wow.
world. So this reflects the exemplary performance now
What
being
did you do
given by
to,
this ministry.
what did you do to transform this? Where were the systems that you got into and made sure that things were moving? Where did you see the issues and how did you transform it?
Like, when you take the, the demanding situation of the present day's world, so you have to like put your best possible effort in bringing all the modern technology and innovation, particularly to enhance your capacity, to enhance your cargo handling like
Right.
capacity, and also to develop a better infrastructure facility, to better like ecosystem, so that like every like shippers feel like at home, and also creating an environment for ease of doing business.
Right.
So easy access to all the operators involved in this particular sector. So that is the way you'll have to create the ecosystem to draw the like investor across the world.
Kaushik, you want to come in at this stage? Don't speak Assamese. Both of them from Assam.
But I'll ask something related to the Northeast, because one thing that has come up in a big way during your tenure, the development of waterways. Now we hear that China is going to build a dam on Brahmaputra, Yalung Sangpo at the Great Bend, which is two ways. It's very difficult for India because it's also the epicenter of all the earthquakes that have happened in the past. And if they build that dam, actually they go ahead with that, that can potentially, as many geologists say, that that can potentially dry up Brahmaputra, which is the lifeline of waterways in the Northeast. It also connects us to Bangladesh. So what is the government reaction and take on this, particularly in terms of Northeast?
It is an international issue, and particularly this issue will be handled by our External Affairs Ministry. But we are concerned that whether it is inland waterways or coastal shipping or ocean shipping, in all these particular sectors, our whatever mandate we have as a ministry, we have to take the appropriate action in it, particularly supposing if there is a crisis of draft of kind of water in river Brahmaputra, because this is also one of the hardest challenging part. So in this issue, we are addressing through dredging. Now, to have the dredging activities done properly so that the cargo vessel, passenger vessel, cruise vessel can move seamlessly. This is what we are doing in River Brahmaputra, that is National Waterways 2. Under the direction of Honorable Prime Minister, because Prime Minister always gives top priority to the overall development of the northern state. You have seen it the last 10 years. So that is why, whether it is Brahmaputra, National Waterways 2, Brahmaputra like Barak, National Waterways 16, and all others like 18 National Waterways. So we are all taking the appropriate measures by developing infrastructure like jetties and terminals, so that the vessel can easily operate. And also we are creating the ecosystem for ship repair facilities in River Brahmaputra at Pandu. This is for the first time which has been undertaken by Cochin Shipyard Limited, one of the most credible shipbuilders in the world nowadays. So this is the way we are building the ecosystem, and I am confident that whether it is Brahmaputra or Barak and Ganga, all these particular rivers, major rivers of the country can be integrated through the appropriate initiative we have taken so far. So I believe that is the way we are always encouraging the, vessel operators. And in the recent past, we have launched a cargo promotion policies. So that is the policy through which will provide 35% incentive to the cargo operator, like cargo vessel operator. So that is definitely going to give a lot of boosting to those people who are thinking of investing in this inland waterways. I believe that's the way we'll have to create the ecosystem. Yeah.
Another concern is Bangladesh, the political situation
Can
in Bangladesh.
I know you want to get your Bangladesh question, but I think we'll just bring it back and I'll give you the chance to do this. Is it related to your China question or?
Not related, but because India has a lot of interest, maritime interest in Bangladesh, and given the political situation, changes in political situation, how are you seeing it as a challenge?
So far, our vessels are smoothly sailing through the Bangladesh Protocol route. So whatever MOU we have among both the nation, both are, with commitment, honoring the kind of, MOUs. And as a result, whether it is cargo vessels and other vessels, they are moving very smoothly.
If you look at what you said earlier, the Maritime Development Fund that the government has sanctioned, 25,000 crores, there the private sector participation is going to be critical.
Yeah.
How do you ensure, two questions, how much of this is going to be public-private participation? Second issue is, do you see the time has come, like you've given a lot of airports to private players, do you see private participation and in ports gathering momentum considerably?
So actually, the 49%, as you know, this is government, Government of India's shares, and rest will be shared by our ports, major ports, and all others, like other agencies, private players. So that's the way the entire, kind of shipbuilding and ship repairs in all these sectors, this should be utilized. And this is definitely going to encourage, particularly shipping. Earlier, it was only confined within those natural landscape. As you know, most of the state in the country,
right,
in the hinterland areas, in the landlocked, so most of the people have not seen sea. And operations of the cargo vessel, passenger vessel, cruise vessels,
right,
whether it is coastal regions or in the oceans. But for the first time in the last 10 years, because of the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Ministers, we could able to operate one of the longest river cruise in the world. Earlier, Europe has always been carrying the legacy of this particular cruise operation in the leadership. But now, India could able to prove under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, yes, Indian waters are feasible enough for the cruise operations and all.
No, so the other part of the question was, how much more in terms of ports and privatization of ports, do you see that gaining momentum in the next couple of years? What was the government approach towards that?
Of course, we are bringing the legislation also, because whatever legislation was enacted 100 years back, that's become most of the redundant and also obsolete. So that's why we are bringing, as per the modern days demands, we are bringing the legislation, we are developing the robust port operation mechanism across the country, whether it is major port or other than major port, because we have got more than 227 ports across the country. So all these ports will be brought under this particular legal systems, and as a result, our transparency of operation and all others kind of data sharing, everything will be visible, and which will be facilitate the operators, and which will encourage their confidence, and also inspire them to come to invest in the water.
One of the issues is, of course, that when it comes to private participation, there's always, for instance, the Adani Group has got a lot of ports. How do you see other groups come in? Has he got, firstly, too many? And do you see other players, big players coming? Do you ask them to come in?
Of course, because nowadays, for shipbuilding,
right,
Japan and South Korea, they are leading companies. They are willing to invest in India because we are creating the ecosystem, ship building clusters across the countries and with the support of the state government. So that is the way integrated effort of center and state, ultimately creating that environment which is drawing the attention of the big builders, ship builders of the world. So this is how we are creating.
And management of ports?
Of course, port management, because the modernization, mechanization, digitization, we are making all the port most modern and well equipped so that nobody feel that Indian ports are not up to the mark. Everybody will feel that, yeah, it is competent and competitive, and also it is eco-friendly, and also it is modern, and also it can accommodate all kind of facility, whatever they desire.
Now, of these 200 and, how many ports did you say that are there?
227.
That's a huge amount of ports.
Yeah.
Would you, how much of that is run by government now? How much of that is private? And how do you see a progression towards that? Because, you know, the private
Actually,
sector would like to
out of these
participate.
69 ports are operational.
Right.
Rest are still yet to develop. So that is why they will all be brought under the same legal system.
And how many of them do you see privatization or private players take charge of these ports? Just like airports, a lot of them have gone to the private players. You see that as a big area?
It is, and the principle of PPP.
Right.
So that is, their option is very clear. So that is why whoever is interested, they can come and study and take part in this a journey. Yeah.
So you're open to a lot of private participation in it?
Of course.
Also encouraging a larger number of
yeah.
groups, I would gather, on this one. On this. Kaushik, you had a question?
One critical question means we discussed it last time also, the last mile connectivity to ports. So what is the government doing in developing that?
Look, we are bringing particularly one port, for your information, for the first time in the history of India's 78 years of independence. One of the mega ports is under construction, that is Vadavan, okay? Which is going to become one of the leading transshipment hub for the containers. And altogether, it will have the capacity of cargo handling to the extent of 300 million metric ton per annum. 23.3 million TEUs container will be handled by single port. It is going to be one of the top 10 container port in the world. So this is how we are going to compete with the rest part of the world. Because this competitive environment, if you want to create, you will have to first develop the infrastructure as per the demand of the modern days, entire operation system, or modern days, infrastructure facilities. So this is the, revolutionary initiative undertaken in this country for the first time. That is happening only because of the Honorable Prime Minister's vision. And also, we are bringing Galatier Bay, that is in the Nicobar and Andaman Islands, as you know. We are also bringing one of the, a major, transshipment hub there also, with an investment of 49,000 crores. The earlier one is 76,000 crores. These are the mega port, and as you know, if you talk about last mile connectivity, it is close to Philippines, close to the Malaysia, so that Galatier Bay. So this is also going to happen soon. So this is how the India is planning to develop the entire port mechanism in the not only in India, but also we are running Sabahar is Eturant, and others even in Sri Lanka also. So that is the way India's presence in the world map will be very much visible in the port operation, cargo handling, and also in the shipbuilding. By 2047, we want to be the top 5 builders in the world. So this is how the entire planning is developed, and also execution strategy has also been adopted.
You had also mentioned the Nicobar, is that Galatia? Of course, it's going to be one of the largest transshipment areas. There have also been concerns about the environmental issues that were there. There have been protests and people have gone to the court. Where does that stand now? What is the issue?
All the environmental issue has been appropriately addressed, and now it is a settled issue.
Okay. And we're going ahead with the Galatia port on this front. Okay, coming to the other part which you'd mentioned, the Sagarmala program, and you talked of it, modernization of ports, boosting connectivity. Can you tell us what are the
Actually,
milestones
there are
that...
5 verticals.
Right.
First, port modernization,
Right.
mechanization, digitization, number 1. Number 2, port-led connectivity enhancement. The port, whatever port we have, we need the rail connectivity, road connectivity, and air connectivity events. So all mode of transportation needs to be integrated. And the principle of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, multimodal connectivity. Okay. Number 3, port-led industrialization.
Right. Interesting.
Number 4, coastal community development. It is not that we are only building the ports and handling the cargo, but also we are putting our best possible sincere effort to make the welfare of the coastal community. And they are the young generations, employment opportunity. That is why we are building the ecosystem of skill development center right from Gujarat to West Bengal. All the 9 coastal states and also other Indian territories, they are having this kind of skill development center. Out of scaling those youth, we are employing them. So this is what. And the last one is the coastal and inland waterways. Like we are doing the coastal shipping, coastal, cruise, and also inland waterways, developing the national waterways, creating infrastructure, making feasible for the operator to handle cargo, passengers, cruise, all 3 ferries to be operated. So this is how the entire nation is having better mode of transportation, and which is cost effective, which is eco-friendly, which is seamless, less congestion. So now if you compare the logistic cost, if you compare with
Yes.
railways, roadways, then it is the cheapest in the waterways. So that is why this is, in many ways, it is for the investor friendly.
Right. Kaushik? 2 questions we have. One, you start, and then I'll take the final
So
one.
again, I'll come back to the ports because in every sphere today, these days we talk about digitalization, AI and all that. So how Indian ports are getting modernized. Added to that is the safety and security of these ports, because we at times hear of drug haul and all those things. So how the port ministry is cooperating with other related ministries to ensure safety, security of the ports, plus the digital transformation.
Look, particularly when you visit our ports, then you will discover the truth, how we are modernizing. Because simply I want to cite that one example. Earlier, for a cargo vessel, they had to wait for the port authority to give space for this embarkment there like cargo, isn't it? So it took 48 hours. 48 hours. Now, because of the efficiency and incorporation of the technology, it takes only 20 hours. From 48 hours to 20 hours. Saving the time, and it's become more economic friendly. So this is the way we are modernizing the ports, technological incorporation, whether it is all the trucks through which the cargoes are transported. They are also under scanners. No objectionable item can be brought to the ports. So this is the way we are developing the security system also. Nothing is hideout, but everything must be put on the transparency. And as a result, now confidence of the operators is also increasing, and ports are becoming more efficient.
Finally, I'm coming back to the question, because so much of investment is happening in terms of private participation in the port development. Where do you see that going? Currently we are confined to very few players. Do you now want to open it up to a lot more? What is your sense of the way private participation, since we talk of PPP, how much more do you see that happening in ports? Ports particularly. Yes.
The JNP become it is a landlord's ports.
Right.
Yet mainly 100% वहाँ private investment हो चुका है.
Right.
Other ports are also in the process. PPP, this, if you want to, like, make the success story out of this policy, then you will have to create the ecosystem there. Now the private players are discovering that our port system is very friendly to them. As a result, they are finding that it is easy to, like, do business in Indian ports. So that is why their interest level is increasing. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Sonowal, I think we've run out of time. Kaushik, do you have any quick... yes, you want to say something, Minister? Go ahead.
नहीं, मैं तो आप लोगों से सिर्फ एक ही बात कहना चाहता हूँ, मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया हमें मदद करे, क्योंकि ये जलमार्ग में जो शक्ति बसा हुआ है, शक्ति, संभावना और संपदा, ये 5000 साल पहले हिंदुस्तान, अगर आप इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन, हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन अगर अध्ययन करें, तो आपको ये पता चलेगा, आपको मालूम हो ही जाएगा कि हिंदुस्तान, भारत आज से 5000 साल पहले, we were the leaders in the maritime sector. We used to build ship, we used to repair it, and we used to trade across the oceans. So that is the power we could able to demonstrate it long time back. That rich legacy still there. That is what Honorable Prime Minister has brought into the pictures and into the practical reality, and reminded the people, please gear up and try to understand your rich legacy of maritime sector. This is what ultimately at Gujarat, Lothal, when after going to the excavation process, they have discovered that city, which has reminded us about 500,000 years rich legacy. So that is why, with this spirit, we'll have to look forward to become the #1 maritime nation in the world in the next 25 years. That vision is very clear. And Honorable Prime Minister's vision is so powerful. Whatever he thinks, he always executes it with better planning, better program, better policy, and commitment, and better good governance, and also quality implementation. So these are the power he stands. And that is why today you have seen the Ministry of Port, Shipping, Waterways now become the talk of the nation, talk of the world.
Let's give Mr. Sonowal a very, very warm round of applause.
Thank you.
For answering all our questions. And we hope that we'll become the #1 shipping partner under your watch as well. Thank you very much.
What an engaging conversation indeed.